Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about the planet Oshuane. This is the cave biome that you can play right now. It was the new content added into the Unust. The Hive Lords here, the Dragon Roaches here. But while all that's going on, there are only 2,000 players on this planet, 1,941 to be exact. And if we pull up the high command overview, keep in mind there is a bot defense happening right now. So a majority of players, 60%, are on bots. But even though there's a bot defense, 30% of the player base, 20,000 people, is still on just bug planets scattered around, but only 10% of just the bug players are on Oshuane. Furthermore, just to pull up a stream VOD from yesterday, when I stream, we pull up Helldivers Companion all the time. Basically, you could see this was like 3 hours after the last Hellmire defense. And I would say people probably prefer bots over bugs in general right now because there was no defense going on at this moment. You can't see past my webcam, but there were no defenses, nothing to do with the major order of people fighting on bots. Maybe people were trying to liberate the planet next to Mentoria, but either way, it is what it is. Last night, 3 hours after the Hellmire defense, there were 43,000 bug players, and if we just skip ahead a little bit, there were 5,600 people on Oshuane. So I kind of just wanted to talk about why is the new planet with the new cave biome, and this was a really, player requested sort of thing that we would get cave missions on the bug planets, and really just like why aren't players playing here? Out of the ones that are on bugs, by the way, it's only 10% of bug players, give or take. Sometimes a little more, maybe sometimes a little bit less. But either way, it seems like this is just not a very popular planet. Now, for me personally, when I do log into the game, most of my streams are big, long yap sessions right now because I just enjoy talking to the community at this point in the patch because it hasn't been the most popular patch for a number of reasons. But with that being said, when I do load into the game, I load on to Oshuane because I think the cave biome is really cool. I think the Hive Lord is really, really cool, honestly. Not the biggest fan of the Dragon Roach. But I think some of the reasons that this planet is not popular comes down to the following main three reasons. Number one being that Dragon Roach. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't think a lot of other people are. And same with the Hive Lord, actually. Even though most people do think the Hive Lord is pretty cool, we're going to talk about some downsides of it. And then the final thing being something I saw in my chat a lot yesterday when I was asking people, and that is the actual caves not allowing you to use your stratagems. Now, first of all, for me personally, like I said, when I load into the game, I'm going to go to Oshuane unless I want to mess around on a bot planet for some reason, maybe test a different loadout or something. But if I'm playing bugs this patch right now, I'm going to the new planet. I mean, that's just me personally. It's the new content. I do like the Hive Lord a lot. I can get past a few Dragon Roaches here or there in my Salamander armor, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it. So I guess since I'm not the biggest fan of the Dragon Roach, let's just talk about that enemy real quick. A lot of people have found that the Dragon Roach just feels a little bit more annoying than it is really cool. Now, the first Dragon Roach I did ever see, it was really cool at first. The way it looks and the way it flies around the map is just really amazing, honestly. It looks like a Skyrim or like an Elden Ring boss sort of that you're going into. But also at the same time, there are a lot of downsides to this enemy. It's as tanky as a Bile Titan, and it can be very limiting on what you can bring to actually kill it. Pretty much down to just lobbing ultimatum shots at it or spamming a recoilless rifle or any sort of other anti-tank launcher. It's not really super cool to kill with a lot of things. And I do think that players are sensitive to what loadouts they can bring. A lot of people at this stage of the game like to just bring their favorite loadout, bring their favorite stratagem. And it's like, it doesn't really feel good to run a stalwart if you have Dragon Roaches constantly hunting you down. Now, that's the first thing. The second obvious thing about the Dragon Roach is just like the flame hitbox. And, a lot of people were calling Rupture Warriors a stim tax, but let's be real. That Dragon Roach, when it flies in and it hits you guaranteed, because the hitboxes are pretty wild on the fire. That is a bit of a stim tax as well. And the other thing is the Dragon Roach seems to do 100% fire damage. You can wear the acclimated passive with resistance to acid and fire, but it does not help as much as the heavy salamander armor set. So that's kind of a little tip for you guys as well. If you do want to fight the Dragon Roach, like anytime I go to a Dragon Roach planet, I'm not taking off that salamander because it sort of makes that dragon breath more of a non-issue. With that being said though, I think something that really has to be mentioned about the Dragon Roach is the way it spawns in. It doesn't feel like it comes from a bug breach. It doesn't feel like it's a patrol. Now, I will say technically it probably is a patrol, but it always seems like right after you kill one, another one is spawning in very, very fast. Now, this is not a common way for enemies to spawn at all. Pretty much we've only seen this from Leviathans, and technically Stingrays as well. Although Stingrays do not come in nearly as often as the Dragon Roach or nearly as often as Leviathans. I do feel that they probably shouldn't do another enemy that just kind of shows up like guaranteed super, super often. I think Stingrays, as much as I love them and as much as I asked for them to spawn more, I do think maybe it was possibly smart, since Stingrays are also on a timer, that they were like far and few in between. But in general, I would say do not really put enemies on timers. Like if you just have an enemy show up as soon as one dies, it's just going to feel kind of unsatisfying to kill it. And like it's constantly something you have to do throughout the whole game. It's not like an objective you can complete and then you're done with it. Now, one piece of feedback I've had in the past for gunship patrols and shrieker patrols, even though those do feel more fine because they are a patrol, you know, you can spot a shrieker patrol out in the distance long before it gets to you, and you can even avoid them and let them fly past you. The Dragon Roach does not work like that. If the Dragon Roach is there, he's basically coming straight to you every time. But what I will say is I hope in the future Arrowhead ties these enemies to secondary objectives. I actually feel the same way about the gunship patrols and the shrieker patrols. I feel like even just gunship and shrieker patrols should come from a gunship lair. Like instead of a gunship patrol of 4 gunships, I would think it was a little bit cooler if gunship patrols means that there's like 2 to 3 gunship side objectives on your map, and every so often they send out a gunship to kind of patrol connected to another patrol. So you have like the secondary objective connecting to patrols, and then it kind of acts as a scout for them. I think that would just be a bit cooler. And then once you destroy that gunship lair, you know, you're done with gunship patrols for the rest of the mission. And the same could be said about the Roach Dragon. If there was like a dragon lair that you could take out, and then you could stop spawning dragon roaches in your game, I think players would be willing to interact with this enemy a lot more, even in its current state, which again is a bit annoying and I'm not a big fan of. Next, I would like to talk about the Hive Lord. Now, I think the Hive Lord was done really well, but again, it just comes down to that sort of spawning sort of thing. Now, Hive Lord, if you go to Oshuane, it shows on the galactic map on the companion app that a Hive Lord is going to spawn there every single mission above difficulty 7, no matter what. And I will say I do really enjoy taking down the Hive Lord, like even just in squad missions. Now, I usually play with viewers, so it is pre-made lobbies, and that's probably why I feel that way. But I do think we would really, really benefit from a Hive Lord specific mission. That way, if I want to go fight them, I can do that. And if I don't want to fight them this match, then I can avoid them. Hive Lord does have a bit of Leviathan vibes where it's like you do kind of have to bring some specific stuff to be able to deal with it. So it's one of those things where if you don't want to fight it, then I don't think you should. Now, another thing as well that I think people don't realize, because, you know, a lot of you guys are loading into random matchmaking, is that the Hive Lord is actually way easier to take out. A lot of people in chat have told me that like nobody ever wants to help them kill the Hive Lord in random matches, so you just end up running from it the whole time. If the team just focuses the Hive Lord while he's active, once you crack a plate, you can actually burn him down with machine guns. The Hive Lord is not a durable enemy at all. Now, the one part of the Hive Lord fight that does get a little frustrating is when he just runs away nonstop. Like, you know, sometimes you'll commit to fighting the Hive Lord, but then he just runs and hides for like 10 minutes at a time. But with that being said, if the team is focusing the Hive Lord, you can take him out. Now, it does require some sort of anti-tank to crack an armor plate, but after you crack an armor plate, machine guns are the best. And with that being said, if we did get a specific kill a Hive Lord mission, then what I think would actually be good is on level 7, it's kill 1 Hive Lord. Level 8, it's kill 2 Hive Lords. Level 9, it's kill 3 of them. And level 10, kill 5 Hive Lords. Why not? Now, I'll be real. I did just say, like, you know, the Hive Lord's easier to kill if a lot of people are focusing on it. I don't know if we would be able to kill 5 Hive Lords. I think we would, but it would be very difficult and there would be a much bigger fail rate on that one. But honestly, like truly, if you focus them down, you can kill them. And I think if there were a specific kill a Hive Lord mission, they probably wouldn't make it run so often. I feel like they made it run away so often because they put it on every mission, like on the planet, above difficulty 7, so they kind of made it run away so that way you can ignore it sometimes. And honestly, I feel like they did the same thing with Leviathans, so he does have a little bit of like some Leviathan vibes in my opinion, where they kind of made it that you can somewhat ignore it. And I feel like it's almost bad to make an enemy like that that's like meant to be ignored sometimes, because it kind of just ends up leading to some like not so good feelings when you're trying to fight it. Or, you know, if I'm supposed to run from this enemy, then we're just going to run from it all the time. And then it ends up in randoms that you're always running from it. And then you see people queuing these missions less often. Now, the last thing about the cave missions, and this was something a lot of people said in chat, is that when you go into the cave, you don't get any stratagems. Now, personally, I think this is pretty cool and I like this. Like, I like going into the cave, even on solo missions. And when I run out of supplies, I got to come back out. I don't really mind doing that, and I kind of like the dynamic. It's almost like a stratagem jammer in there, but it feels more natural. What I will say is it would have been pretty cool if we could have gotten like a drill pod upgrade where like turrets could get called in caves, or like a resupply could get called in there. Or maybe if there was more sort of destructible ceilings, like a few more areas in between the different nests and whatnot. I do think as it is right now, there honestly is enough space where like there is enough open space where you can call in your stratagems pretty often. But with that being said, if there were like 1 or 2 holes in the mega nest somewhere, or 1 or 2 holes in like the spore lung area where there's like a spot that you can find that you can break open a hole in the roof and then call some more stuff in a bit more often. Or maybe if stratagems were enabled, you could just drop a barrage and it starts breaking holes in the roof above you. That could be like some sort of cool way to do it. Now, again, personally, I'm like perfectly fine with not being able to call in stratagems while I'm in there. I don't mind going in and out at all. But that was one complaint I saw, because at the end of the day, you know, the real draw to Helldivers is the fact that you can call in airstrikes all the time. A lot of people really just enjoy that about this game, with like 500 kg being the most picked stratagem of all time, because it's just the biggest, coolest explosion. So even though a lot of players were asking for caves, I feel like now that once they got to play it, there was maybe just that little bit that they didn't like, how you can't call in your stratagems. So with that being said, comment down below maybe why you're not diving the cave planets right now if you're playing this patch. I know there was a lot of other issues with the patch, mainly performance being the biggest one, and there was some unhappiness in the community with the way the devs are balancing things lately. But if you're playing right now, why aren't you queuing caves? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.